Samantha, thank you for being here. Straight from drama school to the West End.
Yes.
How is the run going? You're playing Cosette in Les Mis, as I said. You enjoy it?
Yeah, it's lovely. I love it. It's everything I'd hoped for, and everybody's so lovely, and the show's Les Mis. So, yeah.
Exactly. And can you prepare? You obviously trained at Urdang Academy in musical theatre specifically.
Yeah.
How much can you actually prepare for being on the West End stage? Because it's a step up from everything else, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a hard one. I was very nervous my first night, but as the run goes on, it gets easier and you settle into it. So all you can do is, do your best, have faith in your skills and your techniques, and then from there on, you'll learn and you'll progress as the show goes on. I'm still learning as I do the show every night. So, take what you have from drama school, and then you'll learn more after that anyway.
And what's it like amongst the company during a run of that length? You see each other every day, twice a day, you work very closely together. Do you support each other during the show?
We're very fortunate. We have a very lovely cast. And, some people were on 6-month contracts, so they'll leave and then you'll get someone else. But everyone's really lovely and really supportive, and it's like a family, really. Valjean, he's like my real dad, my Fontaine, we share a dressing room with Melody and Fontaine, so we're always together, but we love being in the same room as each other.
Just as well, really.
Yeah. Otherwise it would be a little awkward.
Tell us about the audition process and how you got the role.
Well, I got an audition from Urdang at BBA, and I was just happy to sing on the stage of the Queen, so I took my own song, and then I had about 7 recalls and a singing lesson, and just worked through the material with the directors, the residents, and then I got to my final, and
7 recalls though?
Yeah, about that. And they were supposed to sing for Cameron, but he didn't make it, so they videoed it, and then they made their decision, and that was it.
Was there a point when you thought you just, come on, decide now? I mean, how much do you have to hear somebody sing before you give them the part? But I guess they need to be sure.
You always think, is this the last one?
Yeah.
Is this the last one? But, yeah.
You must have been thrilled to get it.
Yeah, it took about 2 months, so...
And how have you, I have to ask you, because it's Les Mis, obviously, the film adaptation has been so successful and Oscar nominated, and it's hard to find someone who hasn't been to see it. Have you seen the film yourself?
I was lucky enough to go on the premiere evening.
Oh, wow.
So I have seen it. It was wonderful. I need to see it again, because obviously I probably missed some stuff from being so excited, but it was really, really great. I mean, I cried in the first opening sequence because the shots were just so epic, and I knew loads of people in it, so you're like, oh, there's someone I know, there's someone I know. So that was really, really nice. No. Just a few of the students, one of them I know from back home, and quite a few of people in the show now were in the film, and that was really lovely because we all got to share that experience and, clap when you saw somebody you knew on the screen instead of the stage.
And how did you watch the performance of Cosette in the film? Because it must be strange knowing a role so well and having your own interpretation of it, and then seeing somebody else, I imagine, do it slightly different.
Yeah, I loved Amanda Seyfried. I thought she was brilliant. And obviously it's very different from the show. The settings aren't the same, the costumes aren't the same. But I thought, she was wonderful, and I loved Eddie Redmayne as well. As I'm sure many other people did.
And so tell us about your time at Urdang Academy. How did the course and your training prepare you for your career?
Well, it was a lot of hard work. 3 years. And each year had a different focus. Our first year was technical things in singing and dance, and then the second year was branching out of that, finding yourself a bit more. And then the third year, we had master classes, workshops, meeting different casting directors, auditioning for our third year shows. So yeah, it did really prepare you, but then when you go out, there's still so much more to learn, but it gives you the basis and everything that you need, ballet, jazz, tap, and then you're singing and you're acting, and
It's a real range of skills.
Yeah.
Because musical theatre is a specialism, but it has a huge can place a huge demand on you as a performer, and there's a huge variety of skills you need, even within musical theatre, isn't there?
Yeah.
Do you specialise in anything particular in terms of your dancing or your vocal performance?
I'm a singer who can move well. So, I went to Urdang because I knew that it was going to really push me in my dance, but I've always known my casting type, so I know I'm a soprano, and I know that my look matches how I sing. So, that was my, little pathway that I went down and that I really worked on.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people here will be looking for a career in musical theatre as successful as yours early on. So what would be your advice to people who are wanting to study and learn musical theatre and to have a successful career?
Well, when you're choosing where you study, find somewhere you really like. Like, you'll go to auditions and you'll have a feel for the place. And I've been quite lucky knowing what I'm going to be cast as, and I'm quite fortunate with that. So I'd say know what you're good at. Like, if you can flip, if you can dance, if you've got languages, if you can do accents, like, they're all really good things. So, like, grab onto those and, push them. Like, because I was in the minority at Urdang for how I sung. So I played on that, and, I was fortunate enough to get a job where I could do that.
So playing to your strengths
Yes, definitely.
is important.
And work hard. And look after yourself.
Look after yourself.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't, I guess, because of all the hard work that comes with the industry.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to getting that audition and preparing for it, what advice would you give to people once you finish training and you're putting yourself out there for roles? How can you make sure that you do the best that you can?
Be prepared. Look good. Know what the show's about. Know what you're going for. And, they might say no because you're too tall or because you're too short. So as long as you've done the best that you can do, then that's all you can do.
It might be easy to get disheartened with a knockback like that for, say, your height or something else you can't do anything about.
Yeah.
But I guess you just have to learn to accept it.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right, well, does anyone have any questions just now for Samantha as we continue to talk about, let's carry on talking about Les Mis then, because have you noticed a resurgence of interest in the stage show because the film has been so successful?
We have a house full pretty much every night, so that's lovely.
Must be great.
Yeah.
What does that give you as a performer, to have a full audience who are there to enjoy the show?
It's brilliant. Like, the atmosphere is always really, really good, and people know the story from the film or the book. And personally, I prefer the show myself. And the atmosphere, like when there's so many people in there, it's just brilliant. It's lovely.
And how long ago did you get the part? Is it?
I found out in maybe March last year, April last year.
And you'll be in the show for how long?
Until June.
Till June, so that's quite a long time.
Yeah.
And I guess to get that role so soon after finishing your studies is a great thing. But are you perhaps thinking about what you're going to do next now? Or are you just enjoying the moment?
I'm enjoying it at the moment, but auditions are coming up now, so I am thinking about what I'm going to do in the future. There's lots of things I'd like to do, but you never know.
What other parts would you like to play? What's on your list?
I'd like to play Christine, Phantom. I'd like to play Glinda. I'd also really like to be a Disney princess.
Really?
But we'll see.
To be immortalised in cartoon.
Yeah.
Maybe pantomime, I don't know.
Maybe.
And what about the role of Cosette? What challenges does it have for you as an actress?
I answered this one the other week actually. She's very lucky in that she has a father, Valjean, who looks after her a lot. So she doesn't want to feel bad about neglecting him, but there's so much else that she wants. So it's balancing, like, I want this other life, like I've fallen in love with this boy I've just met, and how do I tell my father without hurting him after he's given me so much? Like, you don't want to see spoiled, but you have to balance it quite well.
And does your performance and your interpretation of the role change as the run goes on, or do you get to the end of the rehearsal period and then have it nailed and it's the same every night?
No, we'll have rehearsals quite a lot sometimes. My mum came to see it on the first night, and then she came to see it a few months later, and she was like, oh, you do it differently now. So I do it differently because I've just grown with the part, but then you'll have someone come into a rehearsal and now do something different with you, like change it up for a couple of months. Obviously it's the same blocking and the same sentiment, but just trying things a bit different.
And the show has such a huge profile around the world. Do you find, in terms of people's reaction to it, it is what they expect, or I imagine people come to see Les Mis for the 10th, 11th, 12th time in their lives. Do you worry about living up to the phenomenon that the show has become?
Interesting. Everybody that I've met at Stage Door always has something really lovely to say, and we get people from all around the world, obviously. But, you know, it's been running in London for 28, 29 years, so they're obviously doing something right. But yeah, I haven't met anybody who doesn't like the show. Fingers crossed. So it's lovely to be a part of it, and yeah, really, really nice.
Great. Okay. Well, any questions before we finish with Samantha about musical theatre in general, or Les Mis?
Have you ever had second night syndrome?
Second night syndrome.
I don't know what second night syndrome is.
Basically, the first night's really, really good, and then the second night is supposedly not so
So you
good.
keep to it.
Yeah. Do you know, I can't really remember. The first night's obviously, you know, amazing. Your first night on the West End stage, but the second night, you're aware of the second night syndrome. So I can't remember it being that bad, really. And you've got, you know, that you've got another year to do it. So, you know.
Anybody else? Any other questions? How about your peers who you've studied with and you've trained at Urdang? I mean, have they had the same success as you, or is it taking a little bit longer for other people? I guess it depends, doesn't it?
Yeah, some people are doing amazing things. Like there's a guy who's had 3 jobs from college. He's in chorus line at the moment, and lots of people are on tour with like Hairspray and stuff like that. There's people who are doing really, really well, but then other people like they're just going to have to wait for their castings and you know things like that. But all of my friends I know are working really hard and they're going to auditions and yeah. So it just depends. You just have to wait for the right thing to come along.
And as an actress in musical theatre, do you see it very much as an industry which is relying on established big budget shows in the West End, you know, Les Miserables, The Phantom, Lion King and everything else? Or do you have an interest in new musicals, and would you like to be a part of a show which is not so well known and is new and fresh?
Yeah, I would love to be a part of, like, I think Merrily We Roll Along has transferred, you know, into town, or is doing that soon. So, you know, it would be lovely if more shows like that could come into town, and, you know, but people want to go see something they know is good. So, you know, with Lion King and Les Mis and Phantom, they know it's good because it's been running so long and people go and see it. Whereas, you know, they don't want to waste £30 on a ticket, they don't know whether it's good. But it would be nice if more things could come into town, you know, and people were just a bit more aware.
And what influence do you think Andrew Lloyd Webber's TV ventures, Any Dream Will Do, and the search for a Dorothy and the lead in Jesus Christ Superstar, has that helped give people an interest in musical theatre, or does it perhaps reinforce what we were just talking about there, people just wanting to go and see something that they're already familiar with?
I think it's given people an interest in musical theatre. My Eponine at the moment is Danielle Hope, who won the Wizard of Oz programme. So, you know, she gets lots of people who know her from Dorothy to come and see the show. But, you know, I think it's good to, when it's on TV and people are like, oh, we'll go see that show in London, like it gives, you know, a bit more publicity to it.
And so you're a little way into the run now. It's obviously a fantastic role for you to have. When you turn up at work to the theatre every evening or every afternoon,